Gene Hackman is noted for his stellar performances and dominating screen presence. Unfortunately, his personal life suffered. Following decades of marriage to Faye Maltese, it ended. That wasn't the sad part. The divorce was well publicized, but neither of them spoke out. After Gene died, doubts arose again. Was he a faithful husband or more? Find out. Fame overshadows a romance. Before Gene became one of Hollywood's most beloved TV actors, Faye Maltese believed in him when no one else did. They met in 1955 before Hackman won. Faye was a bank secretary who fell for an ambitious man with ridiculous Hollywood dreams. She thought his dreams were real and he could do it. They kept dating and fell in love. Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie were born after their 1956 marriage. Faye believed in Gene for years, even while he was unsure of his career direction. She suffered through his financial troubles and repeated moves while pursuing acting roles. Unfortunately, his Hollywood rise hurt their marriage. Due to his work ethic, Gene was always gone from home, hurting his marriage. He became more famous, and forces progressively built walls between them. As he grew, his wife, his closest friend, became a stranger to him, hurting their marriage. The marriage suffered until the mids when it ended. One of the most startling Hollywood breakups ever occurred. Hollywood legend rises. Gene Hackman is known for Hollywood elegance, but his life began differently. In San Bernardino, California, Gene was born on January 30, 1930. He was born into a financially unstable home. His parents, Eugene Ezra and Anna Lida, suffered with the marriage too. Unfortunately, they divorced when they couldn't keep up. The divorce occurred when Gene was 13. The boy suffered greatly throughout this time. After the breakup, he relocated to Danville, Illinois. After seeing his childhood home destroyed, Gene was nurtured by his maternal grandma in Danville like her own son. The woman showered him with attention, but his parents' separation still affected him. Worse, the sudden adjustment made him bashful and guarded. Instead of speaking, Gene observed the environment silently. These attributes helped him enhance his character's depths. His reservedness was not just caused by his parents' divorce. The school was a factor. Gene was restless and felt out of place in all his classes. He just liked drama classes since he loved movies and stories and daydreamed about a bigger existence. Gene didn't enjoy his small-town surroundings, so he could only dream about life outside and the various chances it would offer him. Gene succumbed to a disturbing thought at 16. He lied about his age to join the Marines. Although no one understood why a quiet and reserved young guy would join the Marine Corps, it became one of his best decisions as he grew older since it taught him discipline, adversity, and adulthood. His first Marine Corps assignment was as a field radio operator in China. Right then, Gene saw a lot. Late in the Chinese Civil War, political unrest plagued the nation. He then served in Hawaii and Japan. He loved the other languages and had to learn some to fit in. Gene's military service toughened him and exposed him to many cultures. This sparked his curiosity, but it also made him wonder what else was out there, expanding his worldview. Gene enjoyed the military, but it wasn't his career. The military would not provide him with everything in life. After 3 years, he was honorably discharged in 1951 and returned home. He arrived in the U.S. with no defined goals. He randomly enrolled in the University of Illinois to study journalism and TV production. Just as he expected, he left formal education after losing interest. At this moment, Gene recognized he loved storytelling, but didn't know how to channel it. He boldly moved to California because he knew wishing on a star would not fulfill his ambitions. He joined the Pasadena Playhouse School of Theater. Gene enjoyed school for the first time. He loved learning in all his classes and was always eager to participate. He met Dustin Hoffman and Robert Duvall, two other ambitious performers who became Hollywood icons. Gene initially struggled at school. First, his teachers doubted his abilities. They even named him the least likely winner. This criticism just spurred him, and he was more motivated to prove he could succeed in the profession. Nobody believed he could. Due to doing odd jobs to make ends meet, the young man barely paid attention in class. He moved furniture, drove trucks, and was a hotel doorman. He shared cramped quarters with other aspiring actors and struggled to pay rent. Despite living near poverty, Gene never gave up. Gene departed California for New York City in the late 1950s after graduating. He picked New York since he heard it was the American theater capital. He played many minor roles in off-Broadway productions, developing his resume. Gene played Broadway and TV roles. He played minor roles in The Defenders and Route 66. After working hard, Gene got a role in Sandy Dennis' Broadway play, Any Wednesday. Gene played this role successfully, which drew the eye of directors, leading to his Lilith debut with Warren Beatty. This was Gene's breakthrough. The biggest break of his life came in 1967, as Buck Barrow, brother of outlaw Clyde Barrow. Bonnie and Clyde did this. Gene gave his all since this was his chance. This worked because his performance was dynamic and gave his character charm and sensitivity. Gene did well on, as critics and audiences noted. The role earned him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Suddenly, Hollywood's closed doors opened. Bonnie and Clyde made Gene a respected character actor in The French Connection. The French Connection, published in 1971, made him a major guy. Gene was excellent as Detective Jimmy Popeye Doyle in this film. Gene exceeded the audience's expectations. This film showcased his uncompromising and outstanding performance. It puzzled people for years how one man could portray a character so well that he appeared like he had lived it all along. Two New York cops investigate a worldwide heroin summit operation in the true story film. Due of its fantastic storyline and delivery, the film received 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. This role earned Gene Best Actor. Gene arrived after his Oscar. Gene resumed his film experiences in subsequent years. He played multiple cinematic parts. He appeared in The Conversation, Poseidon Adventure, and Night Moves. Finally, in 1978, he did something unexpected. He played Lex Luthor in Superman. As predicted, this film became a global hit, introducing Gene to new generations of admirers. He was a star in homes and teen and youth organizations. These happened because he could mix comedy, arrogance, and menace into his demeanor. His portrayal of the adversary established the bar for subsequent superhero antagonists. After this, Gene became a celebrated Hollywood actor and one of the most talented and reliable. His personal life deteriorated while his career thrived. Marriage tension for Gene Hackman and Faye Maltese. Gene Hackman became famous in the late 60s and early 70s. Before this, his love story with Faye Maltese suffered so many years of struggles that Hollywood's relentless expectations quickly complicated what began as a love story between a struggling actor and his incredibly supportive wife. But didn't Faye realize what she was doing? Why did she leave when things got tough? However, things were not always black and white. Hollywood was a distant fantasy when the pair married in 1956. Gene was a young Marine Corps veteran trying to find his calling. Their marriage was beautiful because Faye gave Gene the stability and support he needed to prosper while working multiple jobs. After a long day at work, they discussed their goals and sacrifices in the evenings. The simple life didn't suit Gene, wanted more. This drove him to succeed, and when he did, he was hooked. Sadly, he had to leave his wife at home to care for herself after working hard and getting results. With each win, they grew apart, and his life-changing accomplishments alienated him from his wife. He worked late nights on film sets and traveled the world for press tours, and his wife, who was used to seeing her husband struggle, had to adjust to becoming a Hollywood star's wife. She appeared quiet and helpful, but she was going through a terrible time. Her husband was a perfectionist and precise man who prioritized work over family. In various interviews, Gene admits to not always being a father. He said his profession consumed him, leaving little time for his 3 children. He was always far away, even in their house. There was more to it than being together. He was often preoccupied with writing, performances, and status pressure. However, his coworkers and friends noted his odd behavior with his wife and children. This caused speculation. Some said he was cheating on his wife, while others said he was so focused on his profession that he forgot about it. The argument used Hollywood star cliches of difficulty. Long distances may lead to worse temptations. More Gene rose and more rumors spread. Many experts noted his no-nonsense theatrical presence. Even though the star loved his work, he was impatient and never accepted anything imperfect. Around this time, suspicions of his infidelity spread. As others realized this man was great at his career, they suspected he didn't care about his home. After all the claims, Gene was found not guilty of any scandals or cheating on his wife. Many wondered how his wife felt because gorgeous women surrounded him, and if this affected her. It mostly didn't. Faye just knew that her husband had wandering eyes and that his affairs were unconfirmed. Therefore, Faye never addressed these. She chose prudence, unlike other Hollywood wives, to maintain quiet dignity. Why did she remain silent? There may be many reasons she did what she did. Many believe she wanted her family's seclusion over the public scrutiny. Thus, she denied public feuds and never confirmed or denied charges. Many believe Faye wanted more than her family's solitude. Many saw it as a sign of fortitude, while others said she had quietly accepted her marriage to a famous guy. All that didn't matter to Gene. He cared how much his wife appreciated loyalty and discretion. The dedication Faye showed to their children was another thing Gene appreciated about her. She wanted to give her children a normal life and not let her husband's problems affect them. After 3 decades, Faye struggled to stay married to one of the most sought-after performers, and they divorced in 1986. The news of their divorce devastated many hearts because they secretly supported them through the storms. Divorce and aftermath. His absence, possible adultery, and alcoholism were suspected reasons for their breakup, which they never discussed. Gene was well established by then. Due of his fame, the media was particularly interested in their separation, and explanations for their split began to circulate. The media tried to portray their divorce as a narrative of infidelity, midlife crises, and betrayal. However, the two were very quiet, so these stories could not be substantiated. The two refused to discuss their breakup in an interview. They took great care to avoid asset and money disputes. They divorced softly and with dignity. Most importantly, they avoided false rumors and tabloid spectacles because they knew they might ruin a career. When some claimed that Gene's infidelity caused their divorce, the pair established that it was a natural outcome of years of separation-stressed marriage. Faye also avoided the camera. She never criticized Gene or exploited her marriage. She led a quiet life and took great pains to avoid the public spotlight. Many people despised that the woman never said anything since it left so many things unanswered and made it impossible to know what happened in the relationship. Before anyone could focus on it, Gene made another shocking decision. Career-focused, he was single for 5 years after his divorce. His divorce didn't affect him for long, and he released some of the best movies. Gene married a 30-year-old woman 5 years later. Betsy Arakawa was a classical pianist. Gene adored his second marriage because Betsy gave him steadiness after a stressful Hollywood day. His second marriage began when he was more stable, unlike his first, which began while he was unstable and blossomed as he accomplished his life goals. He had a successful career, money, and assets, so he didn't need to work hard. He had 2 Academy Awards by then. However, he acted until early 2000 and returned in 2004. Writing became his priority after retirement. He and his new bride fell in love with Santa Fe, New Mexico's tranquility, which was distant from Hollywood's glamour and splendor. Since he never publicly mourned his divorce, Gene cherished every minute with Faye, even if he never lived with her. Gene explained that Betsy provided him with companionship and a secure personal life, which is why he immediately remarried. Gene married Betsy until his death in 2025, indicating that he achieved the balance he so desperately desired in his first marriage. Gene never publicly pondered, although while single, he may have thought about his prior love. However, his departure from Hollywood highlighted his need for solitude. He focused his job throughout his youth, but as he got older, he recognized he needed a quieter existence. Faye has vanished from public view. Fans expected Faye to write a book or seek media exposure after her divorce, but she didn't. She remained silent when marriage rumors resurfaced online. Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie were their children. These children followed their mother's lead and avoided the spotlight. However, their father is Gene Hackman, so they had to face hurdles and media attention. First, growing up without a father would have been traumatic. After Gene realized he didn't care about his children and started changing, the public didn't know. The strength of their friendship was uncertain. He may have focused more on his new wife than the children, according to others. Whatever the case, no youngsters have spoken forward. They've kept their father's popularity and personal life private from the media. Before his death, Gene Hackman tried to escape Hollywood's hectic lifestyle in the early 2000s. He retired after a 40-year career to pursue his passions. He performed in Ray Romano's 2004 comedy, Welcome to Mooseport. his only cinematic performance. In an interview with Larry King that year, he said he thought his acting days were over and had no film projects. He lived a quiet life and wrote novels. In 2008, he announced his retirement. Gene said, "If I could do it in my own house, maybe, without them interrupting everything and just one or two people, I could return to acting." He had come to love his quiet existence and no longer wanted the stress of the film industry. Hackman and Betsy Arakawa moved to Santa Fe in the late 1980s. Santa Fe's quiet and isolation appealed to the pair, unlike Hollywood. Hackman painted and invested in local companies, health issues, and death. In early 2025, Gene's wife died of hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare disease spread by rodent droppings. However, Gene had advanced Alzheimer's and heart trouble. Unfortunately, he died a week after his wife. These two lovers were found dead in their New Mexico home. After Gene died, everyone looked to Faye Maltese, who had remained silent about their relationship for decades. People started talking and wondered if she could finally disclose something after his death. They wanted her to share her marriage experiences. Faye remained silent. After Gene died, she respected their solitude to honor his memory. She didn't speak or give interviews. She deliberately preserved their relationship discreetly. Gene's adultery accusations stay rumors thanks to Faye's actions. Many applauded her daring choice. They said she was entitled to keep her marriage details private because she owed no one. Faye supported Gene during his early career, but nothing more is known about their marriage. She tried her hardest to balance Hollywood's expectations with her family's. To endure it all in silence after Gene's death shows how much she honored their shared past and their commitment to keep their personal life secret. It makes no sense to comment now that the individual is dead because he cannot defend himself if a false statement is made. Plus, the media is adept at distorting facts. Thus, everything said may be exaggerated, destroying Gene Hackman's legacy. Although this is true, people still speculate about Gene's existence. His work ethic and dedication to his trade made him beloved. However, allegations about his meticulous nature make working with him seem difficult. Given his fame and influence, his family may have had to tread carefully around this immaculate star to avoid insulting or upsetting him. Even with limited private information, we can use his job life to judge his home behavior. If these two had such troubles, they handled them discreetly and away from the public view almost perfectly. Faye highlighted her beloved home characters by staying quiet. It also shows how much she values her privacy and respects her ex-husband's background. This is crucial in an age when personal stories are routinely shared. Faye Maltese's decision to remain silent displays her value, as she respects their personal experiences and wants to protect them. What do you think? Was her silence wise? Would she have been better off speaking out to quell the rumors? Share in the comments. Enjoy this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel.